Thanks, Ron. Talk to you later.
We're learning more tonight about the provisions, or how the provisions of the Patriot Act may affect people in the Ozarks.
The checks you write, the deposits you make, all under scrutiny as banks are on the front line of monitoring people for terrorist activity.
KY3's Laurie Patton joins us live now from right here in Springfield. Laurie?
Well, Lisa, right now banks and other service providers are having to act as the middleman to keep track of what you're doing.
We're an automatic high risk.
Banking with a federally insured bank means you're now being monitored under the Patriot Act.
Everybody in the Southwest Missouri and the Springfield Green Christian County area is considered living in a high risk area because we've been designated by the federal government as high risk for drug trafficking.
We asked bank fraud investigator Cindy Harding to explain to us what is required of banks under the Patriot Act. Harding says most banks will have to have one person working full-time to monitor customers and their money.
Then risk assess all of our customers as to what are the likelihood that they could be involved in terrorist financing, money laundering.
Each and every customer will be classified as to their perceived risk threat, like low, medium, or high risk.
Then we have to monitor everybody's accounts to make sure that they stay within the bounds of what was determined should be their normal activity.
Certain companies and certain people will draw more scrutiny.
Any cash-intensive business, restaurants, convenience stores, gas stations, doctors, lawyers, accountants.
If a large amount of cash appears in an account or a large amount of money is moving through an account, that could trigger concern.
If they step out of the bounds of what was determined to be normal, then we have to see if we can figure out why.
The bank will look at other activity for a reasonable explanation.
If we can't determine the reason for the stepping out of bounds, then we're required to file a suspicious activity report.
That report contains the customer's personal information and then what they're suspected of doing. The bank is also forbidden by federal law to tell the customer that they've been flagged. The information is then turned over to federal investigators. In this monitoring, you can look at the bank as the middleman. They're being monitored too.
The federal government looks at us to make sure that we are monitoring everybody's activities.
We talked to other bankers who said that the federal government also will scrutinize just exactly how many of these suspicious activity reports are being filed, and is that relative to how big the bank is. If not, they could be pushed to do even more suspicious activity reports, saying that maybe customers aren't undergoing enough scrutiny. Jerry, Lisa.
And so when it comes to suspicious activity, the net is a lot wider than just potential terrorist activity, correct?
That's right, Jerry. And a lot of these things were initially set up to catch money launderers. But in the past, when this level of scrutiny has been brought forward, it also had a lot of outcry. Banks were not comfortable with it. Customers were not comfortable with it. But when it came in this form of the Patriot Act, it just kind of flew under the radar. Now it's